Welcome to another episode of the Carpe Fide podcast, where if the shoe fits, you wear it.
And if the truth hurts, you bear it.
I am Justin Gruber.
And I am Jesse Gruber.
And today we hope you will seize the faith. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Carpe Fide podcast.
Hi.
That's another voice. Where's it coming from? I don't know.
Over here. Now I'm over here. Now I'm over there.
Anyway, Jesse and Justin coming at you live for us, and then whenever you listen, which is totally fine.
And then
listen
later for you.
Want. Oh my gosh. Listen whenever you want. It's all good. We're bringing to you episode 189 tonight. Episode 189. Progressivism is just a movement away from God.
Does that necessitate that conservatism is movement toward God? Are you making the counter argument as well?
I am not making that argument at all. I am simply making...
For our liberal-minded friends that'll jump in the comments? Yeah,
liberal-minded friends, jump in the comments. To be clear, I'm not making no. Faithful Christianity is movement towards God. That's pretty much it. So that... Biblically faithful Christianity is movement towards God. No, what I mean by that title is that progressivism, and just to get all hinky on it, progressivism, as defined, is a left-leaning political philosophy and reform movement that seeks to advance the human condition through social reform. Adherents hold that progressivism has universal application and endeavor to spread this idea to human societies everywhere. This is essentially an idea that came out of the Age of Enlightenment, which just
sounds like a D&D quest.
It does sound like a D&D quest. One day we're going to do a D&D quest, Jesse, and we're going to record it, and it's going to be awesome, and people are going to love it. It's going to be so fun. But that's not this day.
When my children grow up and move away,
oh, Lord.
Then we will record that podcast.
70 years later.
Oh my God.
Jesse, can you hear me?
We'll be in the nursing home and pulling out our computers, and everyone's going to be like, all the nurses are going to be like, "What's a computer?"
No, it's just dice and rolling. That's all. It's all fun.
We have to record on a computer.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Silly me.
Yeah.
Anyway, progressivism, the Age of Enlightenment, by the way, was a great time in which man's knowledge sought to destroy religion. I don't know what else to say. It sought to destroy mostly biblical religion that was about Jesus. You can if you think, when you want to think of the Age of Enlightenment, you're going French Revolution. That's I feel like that's this culmination of the Age of Enlightenment. It's just, it actually ends up being a really dumb time. Nonetheless, the Dark Ages, medieval, that was awful. I'm yeah, but an Age of Enlightenment, man, where we're just destroying cathedrals and making altars to knowledge, and it's just a gross time. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But progressivism springs out of the Age of Enlightenment. But the idea of progressivism at its core, it's a name with no meaning, because progressivism implies that there is progress. It's in the name. But my postulate here is that progressivism isn't progress. It's actually just movement. It's simply movement. And it's essentially not just movement, but it's more specifically movement away from God. There is no progress in it. It's just a matter of continuing to move, as if movement in and of itself is somehow an inherent good for the human condition. That just movement brings about social reform, which is, just not true. It's not true.
It's kind of like when you're at work and your boss is coming, and so you just walk faster and carry things, and it looks like you're busy, but you're not actually accomplishing anything.
Yes. We've all it's the look. It is literally the look busy of political ideas.
Yes, yes.
Just look busy. Just look busy, and you won't get hit on being lazy. Um, and it kind of comes out. We're in Joshua in our church study, and and our as our church is going through, we just finished chapter one. So and actually we blew through chapter one. We only spent 4 weeks in chapter one, and you're like, chapter one, yeah, like it's all of 18 verses, but that's really fast for us. We really really go slow through books. Um, but in Joshua 1:7, as as God is instructing Joshua on how he is to lead the people, he says, "Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go." And progressivism is essentially movement to the right or to the left. That's essentially what progressivism is. God's commandments are movement forward. They are movement towards God. Following and obeying God is movement towards him. All progressivism is movement to the right or the left of God's commands. Pretty much always and at all times. It beggars the imagination that they would postulate so many ideas all the time that are almost rewarding of the idea that somehow man is inherently good or will inherently do the right thing always. It's like, always. And that is obviously a huge problem because it doesn't work. It's not true.
Because that's not
Um,
true. It's not real.
and you don't have to like. I mean, this is a very clear biblical principle. We all know Jeremiah 7:19. It's the coffee cup verse. The heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? The heart of man is so unfathomably evil. No one can know the depth of its evil. Who can understand how evil the heart of man is? And the state of the biblical Christian is to know that we were dead in our trespasses and sins, as Ephesians 2:1-3 says. We were dead. We lived according to the passions of our flesh. We carried out the desires of our body and mind. That is the state of man. And this core state of man is one of the things that betrays any possibility of progressivism absolutely being any sort of a real thing. Progressivism is judges. It is everyone does what's right in his own eyes. And it's simply movement for the sake of movement, but it's always to the right and left, and it's never towards God. You never find the progressive person moving towards God in the biblical understanding of God. You find him moving towards a version of God that he has created, and so essentially he has exalted himself as God. That is always what progressivism is.
Well, it's always where sin leads.
Yes,
Like
if you're
that is where the
progressive,
that is where the human heart without that is where the human heart without God leads all the time. Like it's not only is it foolishness, it's also wickedness in that way. I guess is what I was trying to say.
it's 100%. And one of the difficulties is because you like we should want to progress. There's a there's a deception in that, as if it's always some sort of level of chronological snobbery, because whatever has been is not progress. So it always must be, whatever is now is always going to be better than what has been. That's essentially what happens in progressivism. And so you'll find that progressives, even in the age of enlightenment, are actually just, you know soft bigots compared to the progressives now, because in order for them to have been progressive or be progressive now, they'd have to be progressive according to the standards of now, and most of them wouldn't be progressives in the standards of now. That's why progressivism just continues to consume itself. But because it's always the next new thing, it's always moving, but it's not progressing. It's not progress.
Progressing.
It's it's regressive. It's always regressive. It's just movement for the sake of movement. But the snake eating its tail is continuing to move forward in its circular direction and consuming itself as it goes. And that's essentially what we have in progressivism. And that's a well, there's 10 minutes on progressivism. No,
Yeah,
you
and
you
it's
can't
like,
get your time back.
and that's why the faces of the Democratic Party are becoming more and more radical instead of normal, because that is the trajectory of progressivism. Like, it's, how do I want to say this? Because it is what it is, and because it doesn't have any set standards, you know, like, just going to eat itself. It's going to eat itself in chaos. That's why you get someone
Yeah.
like AOC instead of someone like. That's why you get AOC, and that's why you get Jeff Andrew leaving the Democratic Party, because it's absolutely just nuts. You know.
Yeah, and most of the people that end up leaving the Democratic Party, they don't say I've stopped I've stopped being a Democrat. They say the Democrats have left me behind. I was a Democrat, and then they left me. That's because they moved,
Yes.
not progressed. They moved.
Right. I didn't move. You moved.
Correct, and it's always movement to the left and to the right. It's Joshua 1:7. It's pursue me and my commandments, and they're saying, nah, we're gonna go this way. Nah, we're gonna go this way, and it's always at war with what God has made. Always at war. The premise of Christianity, the basic tenet of being a Christian is to be faithful. And that's not a general term. It's faithful to God and what God has called you to. And that is how you be a Christian. In the state of being Christian, it's faithfulness. And that's why we should all desire, our churches to be faithful. We should want to call our churches to be faithful, our congregants, our brothers and sisters in Christ, to be faithful men and faithful women, to call our younger generations to be faithful young men and young women. And that is a much more strong call. And I really do believe, like, we're looking at two articles tonight. That's the kicker, but we haven't even gotten to them.
Maybe.
We might potentially.
We were planning
But-
on.
But that's one of the things that you see in the youngest generation that's coming up. There's I mean, I'm not old. I'm not old. I'm 37. I'm not old. But sorry, that's Monty Python. In case you didn't get it, you uneducated swine. The In my whole lifetime, the statistics that have come out about church attendance, being connected to a faith community, have always been declining, and we have just recently seen the stagnation of that decline. In some areas, we've seen growth, and that's coming about because a younger generation is coming in, and much like Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh in the beginning of Joshua, they looked at their parents and they've seen what they did, and they said, "They're crazy. I'm going to follow God." And they're moving. They're actually not progressing. They're actually reverting back to a much more classical understanding of how the world works as God had made it, and that is a crazy thing to consider. And it turns out that it didn't come about because we got really we got really cool, flashy youth ministry, and we had fancy fog machines, and we had soft, flaccid songs about love. It turns out it was because culture so progressed, quote unquote, to a realm of insanity that the simple faith of young children and young men and women growing up are saying, "That's insane. Where is sanity?" It's only present in something that's objectively true, not subjectively true. And that leads us to the potential of actually having a foundation to move forward on. Sorry, I'm rambling. Now it's 15 minutes, and you cannot have your time back. I am so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the reason they're gravitating towards those things is because it's not new that whether you're looking at it from a theological perspective or whether you're looking at it from a political, like, conservatism perspective, like, those things have always had the answers to the questions they weren't allowed to ask. But now the topics of conversation have shifted, and they're allowed to ask those questions, and they're just left found wanting. So they are, they're exploring these other avenues, and we're like, hey, we've had the answers this whole time. Now you're allowed to, now we can talk about it in public, and you can actually be satisfied with truth. You know,
Amen.
Well, at least that's what I think.
I mean, yeah, it's June, and I feel like it's totally cool for me to be like, yeah, no, I'm a fully biblical Christian. I'm not on board with pride, and I don't feel like it's like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to ostracise you. I feel like it's like, yeah, yeah, I see how that's an
I might not
that's a
lose
valid
my
idea.
job this year. I mean, I would,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, like it's so funny, and this has been the. All right, we're gonna. This is still tangenting. The articles aren't going to take long. They're just sort of meta about what's happening in this culture. They're both recently, they're just in this past month of May, and they sort of meta point to why progressivism is not going. It's just not stable. It's not stable because it's just movement to the right and left of what actual truth by God from God is. Regardless, I refer to the younger generation as the meme and move on culture. Like, for us who didn't have a great foundation and have had to kind of fight and push back against just a holistically unbiblical understanding of how the world works, and really dig down into the what and why of God's word being the truth and why it works. The younger generation coming up is the meme and move on generation. And what I mean is the whole pride thing, like, it's not a thing anymore because they memed it and they made fun of it, and now they're going to just their reaction isn't to war against it. Their reaction is to live their lives in accordance with a better reality. That's so they meme and they move on. Like, we've memed you, like, you're memed. That's pretty much their response to things. And then they move forward. And in my small town where I deliver and have delivered for 10 years, I'm sorry, I drive for UPS. The it's the weirdest small town because most small towns are not microcosms of national level political engagement. But the small town I deliver in is actually a microcosm of national level political engagement. It is like you have a whole block that's all American flags, and then you have like a whole block that's like rainbow flags, and that's kind of the town. There's the council is divided. It's a very back and forth. But for years now, they have a huge June festival about pride and sexual progressivism. And like, if you're a small town store on their little strip, in their main drag, you were expected to be like rainbowed out, like hardcore, like the earlier the better. This year it is going to be June. On Monday I left delivering today, and there are essentially only four stores that are even remotely prepared for or have any rainbow in their flags in their stores. Three of them are pre-rainbow. One of them is has some rainbows in their displays. And the rest of the stores are like,
that's
maybe we'll
kind of
get
like
to it.
that's kind of like mind-boggling to me. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Jesse can testify. This town goes radically rainbow in June,
Or has, at least recently, in the
or
past
has
few years.
or has.
I mean,
and this year
I choose not to drive in the town or frequent any businesses. I try not to generally, but especially in the month of June.
Well, for Memorial Day, they have all the the little light post flags that have gone up. Well, for years in June, the Pride Alliance of this town has petitioned to have rainbow flags up. Well, they did not get their permission submitted, their petition submitted early enough this time, because everyone was petitioning for June not to be rainbows. The ones that really went out are The it's a it's like 100 and something anniversary of the high school's graduating class. So they will get most of June, but for the beginning of June here, as Memorial Day has entered, they have all those that died in service from the town. So it's town members that died in service. Their pictures and names are on all the posts, and it's crazy because by now, by now in the past 4 or 5 years, I'd be driving through just Rainbow Fest. It'd be rainbows on every flagpole, and that is a huge cultural encouragement and movement that I think we shouldn't look past. But it all comes down essentially to the reality that progressivism doesn't work. Progressivism is just movement. It's not progress. And if you stop and think about it for 5 seconds, you realize that.
Yeah. I mean, your two options with progressivism is to recant it or just be eaten by it and consumed by it at some point. Like those are the options with progressivism. It never plateaus. It either just spirals out of existence or you realize and you turn away from it.
And essentially, you pointed this reality out that the progressivism traps people in, right? So the recanting almost never happens. It almost can't happen because it's a fanatically minded political ideal. Progressivism is, which is why like it would none of us would be surprised if AOC is the next Democrat presidential candidate on a national level. Do I think she carries national weight where people will be like, "Oh my gosh, her ideas are great"? I don't think so.
Which is
And
exactly
that's
why I want her to be. That's what
I just want to see her. I just want to see her in like 2 or 3 debates. That's really what I want to see her in.
dude with JD
But
Vance. Dude.
JD, I don't care who it is. JD Vance, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, DeSantis. It doesn't matter who she was up against, right? Like Tom Cotton. Pete Hegseth would destroy. He would wear her face like a skin suit. He would just destroy her. Silence of the Lambs.
I hope he would wear. I hope he would wear like a 3-piece suit that is like a Knights Templar, like Crusader type.
Oh my
vibe.
gosh, yes. The Jerusalem cross is just like he buttons it and it's just a straight up Jerusalem cross.
So sweet.
Anyway, but they can't recant, they can't move past it. And so the base of the Democratic Party, which is the Progressive Party, it can't move from these things. It doesn't know how. They're spending $50 million on trying to win back men. The party that wants to say it doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman, and you can be either a man or woman, and you can change that today and then tomorrow and then the next day, is spending $50 million because they have lost men in every demographic. They have had hundreds of triple change counties. That's counties moving over 3 election cycles towards Republicans and away from Democrats. And they don't know how to win it back, but that's because their base expects progressivism. It expects movement. And you can't go backwards because backwards is the opposite of progressivism.
Right.
It has to be movement in another direction. Any other direction.
It's not. It's not really formed well for politics because you can't really form a cohesive coalition surrounding something because everything is so nebulous and fast-paced and changing. Like you're either leaving people behind and being too fast for them. Like you don't have a central platform. Like so, it's impossible to build some type of coalition in that sense. So eventually, it will fizzle out, which is why we've been saying it'll fizzle out.
100%, 100%. The thing we need to continue to pray for as Christians is that it continues to fizzle out with the younger generation moving towards objective truth inside of the biblical Christian faith. That is what we need to be praying for. And as that happens, I think we'll find ourselves on a much firmer footing than we were in the 50s and 60s when all of this muddy middle came in of assumed morality that never exists. It just assumed morality never exists. So anyway, should we go to the articles at some point? I think we should probably try.
I was hoping we would. I was hoping we would talk so much that we just didn't even have to mention them. Although we
We're
did
close.
spend all of that time making free accounts and fake accounts to be able to read them. That it would seem
Yeah,
silly to waste all of that effort.
so true. We can't do that. That'd be horrible. We'll start with the article that is from a person who would be viewed as a progressive, who views herself as a Democrat. Um, but she is also what the progressives would refer to as a TERF. Jesse, are you familiar with the term TERF?
I am, but I can't remember exactly what all the letters stand for.
Exactly, because who cares? A TERF, TERF, is a trans exclusionary radical feminist.
Oh yeah.
Trans exclusionary radical feminist, which is to say, a woman thinks you can be either a woman or a man. That is essentially what a TERF is. And that when you are a woman or man, you cannot change being a woman or man because you are a woman or man. So essentially a relatively sane feminist, which is that's hard to say. I can't even say that sentence.
I'm more of a
Don't even
terp.
get me started.
Trans
exclusive
exclusive radical patriarchalist.
Patriarchalist?
I made up some words. My mama said
Sure
I wasn't
did.
smart.
I kind of like terp. Can we make a terp shirt? Terp.
I don't know. I feel like it's.
Trans exclusionary radical patriarchist.
I feel like it's a surgical procedure. I don't know why I feel that way. We'll have to look it up.
A terp?
Yeah.
Bro, right now I just change one letter and I get any of various essential oils containing monoterpene alcohols which are added to a henna mix to darken the color.
That's not what I thought.
A terp is also known as a verde, a vord,
Here you
a
go.
vorf,
Here you
a
go, bud.
vorft,
Here you go,
verft,
bud.
verve, vert, varft. It's an
Here-
artificial dwelling mound found in the northern European plains. Go
It's a
ahead.
transurethral resection of the prostate.
Oh gosh, it's so horrible. I'm so sorry we read that. Everyone, I apologize.
The TERP is a surgical procedure used to treat symptoms of an enlarged prostate, such as difficulty urinating and frequent urination. If you're
okay.
if you're having
No.
swelling,
We're good.
please call.
Please stop. Don't say any more words.
You live long enough, you'll be there. Here, prostates are
you're
like
the
the brain;
hero.
they just keep growing, like they never stop growing. So,
What's the phrase? You something to be a hero, or you live long enough to become the villain. Man, that's a great quote that I ruined. You know what it is. Somebody message us. Somebody at tweet us, at grab us, at Facebook us. what's the phrase? Anyway,
slide into our DM.
don't say that after you talked about a terp.
A TERP.
Ugh.
It's
All
a
right,
procedure that helps people. We don't need to
So-
look down on the TERP or shame it.
So the most I'm
Need a
just moving
terp,
forward
get a
to the
terp.
I'm moving forward. The most famous terp that you might know is who's that chick that wrote Harry Potter? What's her name?
Oh, J.K. Rowling.
Oh, that's her name. I'm kidding. I knew her name. She's very famous.
Oh.
She is a turf. I just knew that you've been reading Harry Potter, and I knew you knew her name.
Yeah, I finished it.
I was giving you a nod. I was just giving you an easy.
Jameson just finished the Half-Blood Prince today, and
Which number is that?
that is number 6 of 7. And how do I say
Don't
this
worry.
in a
When
way?
when she needs more money, number 8 will come out.
I mean, if you have a job, just do your job. That's all I'm trying to say.
So true.
But no, there's a part where one of the very pivotal main characters dies, and I was asking him. I saw he was like kind of toward the end, and I was just asking him where he's at. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know who's gonna die. I feel like someone's gonna die, but I'm at this part, and this person's here, and that person's here, and I'm like." Oh my gosh, he's about to read them dying. Like, oh my gosh, he has no idea what he was walking into. I was like,
Oh, no.
But yeah,
You know, it's important to deal with the grief of loss, and this will be a great opportunity for you to walk through that with him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
The turf.
he just kind of moved by it. He's like, man, I'm so angry. Harry must be so angry, and I'm like, yeah, probably. Yeah, yeah. I was angry and sad. I was more sad than angry, but whatever. He rocked it. Kid rocked it.
Oh, good, good. Kid Rock.
No, 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 no.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll start singing right now. The
Kid Rock, like
the
kidney rocks, like kidney stones.
no
There's probably a procedure for that too.
no turping. Turf. The turf in question is Lionel Shriver. Lionel Shriver is a feminist. She is a journalist. She's an author.
She's not
written.
a lesbian.
She is not. She is married to a dude.
That was news to us based on
That was just news to me. I apologize. I apologize, Lionel Shriver. I don't know why I thought that. I knew you were like a feminist and a Democrat.
Dude, you know why you thought
progressive.
you know why you thought that.
I mean, honestly, I'm looking at her. She doesn't know. I don't know why I thought that. It's my fault. Anyway,
Okay.
she's written for the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, New York Times, Economist, Harper's Magazine. She's written for. No, we're reading from the Spectator. She's written for. Oh, geez. What's the other? I just thought. Oh, Prospect. She's a lot of articles. Everywhere. And while she's a Democrat, while she's a feminist, she does have conservative. There are conservative ideals that she has, and normally that's because they are very pragmatic. So like she's pretty clear on the fact that the amount of ridiculous open border migration that's happening in the UK and across Europe is a very clear bad for the country. It's an obvious bad. Did you know, Jesse, that the place where the European Union is headquartered in? Do you know where that is? What city that is in?
No.
It's in Belgium.
Mecca? No.
So close. Yes, it is. Brussels, Belgium is where the EU's headquarters is. Did you know that the city of Brussels is 70% immigrant? Did you know that?
Wow.
Is that insane?
That's a lot.
Did you know that London is 54% immigrant? Did you know that? London, England.
Yeah, it's
You know the British guys with the bad teeth? No, it's not. It's actually North African males. It's not British guys anymore.
They're having kind of a hard time over there, bud.
Yeah, but it's crazy. So she's like, all of a sudden that very pragmatic position it's like beneficial to her. It's actually just obviously true. It's a biblical paradigm. But she's not progressive there. She's pretty bigoted. It turns out this article is entitled "The Trans Nonsense Must Stop." It had something about the trans debacle. This is the Spectator World, and the Spectator that originally appeared as the trans debacle. But her article is basically making the point that trans is kind of a problem. There's a problem though. To be progressive and then to stop progressing makes you not a progressive anymore, and that's really one of the biggest problems of progressivism. So the article has a wonderful picture of I'm going to say women, feminine adjacent humans. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Adjacent.
Feminine adjacent. I don't know what to say. Jesse, why don't you read the signs that the article's picture has here?
So one of the signs says, "Don't just cherish trans people, protect them."
Yep.
Transphobes are the dangerous minority.
Can I just say something about that one? I just want to say there are no transphobes. Transphobes or a transphobic person is a person who has a fear of trans people, and I don't have a fear of trans people.
They're some of the least threatening looking people that I've ever seen in my life.
No, I don't always necessarily agree with that, but I would say what I have is a aversion to some of, because sometimes,
as the kids would say, I get the ick.
yeah, it's not so much the ick. Yes. Oh my gosh. But it's not because it's because you didn't have to look why are you looking like that? Why did you do this?
It's icky because the sin is icky. Like that's why. It's not a
You're
hatred.
really
It's
right.
not a hatred of anybody. It's not a fear of anybody. It's a sinner who has been saved from something, looking at another sinner's sin and seeing it for what it is and being repulsed by it. That is the reality of that situation.
There's a wonderful reel going around right
Do you
now,
feel me on
and
that?
it's
Do you
a.
feel like that was
Oh,
an
I feel you, bro.
accurate
I
characterization?
think that was well said,
Thank you.
Jesse. Well said. Someone needs to cut that audio that Jesse just produced and
No one,
probably like
no one will do
play,
this.
but play like epic Crusader music behind it, and have a really cool picture, like a motion picture behind it, and put that to a reel. So anyway, that's just my opinion.
It
It's the opinion of one
it
man.
would make my work easier.
Sure would. Jeez, managing social media accounts not easy.
The easiest way to do them is do what I do and don't manage them.
Mismanaged. Anyway, the
See, I call it unmanaging.
the oh my gosh, I totally lost where I was going with it. The reel that's
Sorry.
going around is a trans. I get confused. I believe trans woman. So it's a dude that's stereotyping a woman. Let's just call it what it is. And they're saying that if you're a woman in the bathroom and you're afraid of a trans woman in the bathroom, you're not afraid of trans women. You're afraid of men. And the reality is, yes, you jackwagon. That's exactly the problem.
Right.
Yes, we are afraid of men and women's bath. That is, you've hit the nail. And they don't even they say these things like it's some sort of profound statement. And it's like,
If you
wow.
find that, I would love to watch that for myself.
I feel like you shouldn't have to look far because I feel like I sent it to you on Instagram.
Oh, perfect. That's
Look
even
at
more
this
convenient.
Instagram. Yeah, it's there somewhere.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Anyway, Lionel Shriver. That's just the image that's with the document, the article. She has some really great quotes that if you had no concept that she is a progressive Democrat, you would think, wow, this person is saying exactly what is true. Here's a great quote. This is an alarming case of mass social brainwashing. In 2010, if you'd polled the public whether it was a good idea to induce widespread and often permanent inabilities to orgasm and to reproduce in their nation's children, or in anybody, really, almost no one would have said yes. Virtually overnight, the public has come to endorse child sacrifice. If you're a Christian, you know the public has been endorsing child sacrifice for
For
decades.
longer than 10 years, that's for sure.
Yes, and that's just our little culture in America. We're a new culture. Like if you live in like other places, you've been endorsing child sacrifice for even longer.
For millennia.
Millennia. I mean, like Romans, Greeks, there's not a culture that didn't use, any form of ritualistic actual child sacrifice or ritualistic death or exposure of unwanted children. That is literally, man, we do evil things. But you read that paragraph and you're like, wow, yeah, like absolutely, that statement is right on. But then you realize, how can you hold that view in your mind as a progressive? To hold that view in your mind is to not be progressive because you are accepting the L and the G and the whatever the B is.
Bye.
Like what? No, I mean I know what it is, but it's more like just like a
Oh.
question mark, like a placeholder, right? But you are rejecting the T. How dare you? But all you're doing is what you would like just call logic, because if the T exists, it just roms up the other letters because these other letters don't matter now, right? What is a lesbian? But probably a trans couple. Like it's just a confusing. And there goes the T, just eating up the other letters. And so there's this is where I think we have a younger generation looking and saying that stuff is ridiculous. That stuff doesn't make any sense. It's it's broke. Um, another line from the article. Any culture that squanders its efforts on drug regimes and plastic surgery meant to deceive both patients and the world at large that they are the sex they are not is profoundly decadent, if not debauched. It's like, yeah, yep, 100%.
Please, more voices coming against big pharma, please. Oh my gosh, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, like when we're talking about this stuff, yeah, that's what it is, right? Like it's a great way to make a lot of money, like a lot of money, a ton of money. To trans a child is to set yourself up as a pharmaceutical company with a patient for life, utilizing strictly optional medications themselves. Like that's a win. It's a big win on the financial column.
Big win for big pharma.
She says we're inflicting those lies on a whole generation of children who are taught that their sex isn't a fact but a decision. And it's just like slow clap for this lady. Like good freaking job, because yeah, like that's exactly what we're telling them. And it started with the feminism you preach. Like that's where it began. So like you can't, like that's why you can't hold these progressive ideas in your head as you simultaneously reject other progressive ideas, or you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not a progressive. I probably should literally rethink what I say, like all of it. Like I really need to break this thing back down because the foundation is corrupt. And if you don't do that, then you're just lying to yourself. You're just continuing to practice progressivism in your own form. Whatever is right in your own eyes, that's what you're doing. You're just doing judges.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
That's essentially the problem. And so this article, although what I would say is a great article and makes clear, obvious, logical points as to why transgenderism makes no sense. The problem is it's it's so it's it's such a myopic thing. It's so tunnel visioned on transgenderism that you can't realize that it's the feminism that led you to the point of transgenderism. And for you to reject transgenderism means you have to question the basis upon which it's built, which is literally anything you can do, I can do better. Which it's literally a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. It's the same idea. When you start to undo the creative order, you cannot be surprised when you get to a point where everyone is literally chopping off things to undo the creative order. It's just the logical end.
I don't have any follow-up thought to that.
No, you don't need to have to. I like the way she ends. She ends her article. Does trans represent the demise of our civilization? Maybe not quite, but it's a bad sign. Yes, Lionel Shriver, it is.
It is but a stepping stone. There are several more to go, and I am fearful of what they may be.
I am hopeful that they will never be touched. I am a happy warrior. I am content and thankful for what God has given and what He's doing. So anyway, that's one. And maybe you're like, well, that didn't sound so progressive. Like that was kind of the point. She's a progressive. It's not sounding progressive, which makes her a really bad progressive, and it just draws out the idea that progressivism is just consuming.
She's not progressiving right. She's stalled. She's more like a stall live.
Dism.
Stall less.
Stallisticism? Wow. We're making up so many fun words today. A no. Joseph's ready to get back up and do. He's like, you guys are doing this? You guys are mad at me and you're doing all this?
You know what I haven't random thought that just speaking of Joe, have you heard like literally anything else about Joe Biden's cancer thing other than the announcement? Like, I feel like that just
No, the story
that just
became
came and
media.
went.
Well, the story is the media cover up. Now that's the big shocking story, and it is indeed a gross, disgusting, shocking story.
I mean, it's not shocking. We all lived it in real time.
It's not shocking. We knew it was happening. It's just the fact that they are finally admitting that it happened makes it shocking and jarring.
Right. That they would tell the truth is the shock. That they would now. That they would now.
Well, simultaneously that they would tell the truth, and also now that they've told the truth, like who cares about the guy that's dying? Like they just don't care
Right.
because they are
They got-
heartless,
they got what they
evil
wanted.
snakes.
Well, they didn't actually get what they wanted. They wanted Kamala Harris. But that was the other thing I was going to say.
No, they got all the Kamala Harris that they
Oh my gosh.
they deserved. They deserved all that Kamala Harris.
I was just gonna the other practical aspect of progressivism, just because we're kind of floating in and out of ideas, is that like the reason that like progressivism is the reason, and this nature to just continue down paths of insanity is the reason why you got like a what is it, Tom Walls or whatever her running mate was, instead of like a more moderate Democrat that actually would have probably pulled independents in and like kind of calmed their fears a bit. Is because you have to keep running left. You can't stay still.
Yeah, and I mean also, the governor Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, was Jewish, and well, the progressives, they really hate the Jews.
Yeah.
They really hate the Jews.
They
I don't know how to
really
say
do.
it. Like in a, yeah. I mean, like, you know how many times I had to ask Ilhan Omar, like, what are your thoughts on the murder of those two Jewish representatives from the I can't think of diplomats, the two Jewish diplomats killed outside of the in New York, outside of that convention thing. And she like they had to ask her like 3 times, and then the third time she's like, "It's very horrible to commit violence." Allah Akbar. I mean, it's not what she said. She said, "Some people did something."
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. By the way, that's what she said about 9/11, in case you didn't know. Ilhan Omar is not a good person.
Yeah.
It's not a good, she is an evil person. In case you didn't know, in the Nation of Islam, you are allowed to lie if it furthers the caliphate's objectives. Just in case you didn't know, it's in the Quran. Nonetheless,
In Christianity, you shouldn't lie because all truth is God's truth.
yes, and lying is the sin that Satan used in the garden to get Adam and Eve. And turns out pride was a pretty big helper. Nonetheless, the next article is by Nicholas Kristof, who is what you would say
A prick?
a giant progressive. Oh my gosh, maybe a giant progressive. And by a giant progressive, I mean he is very intellectual, but his reasoning is so progressive that it is intensely faulty, almost exclusively all the time. And yet he has written for everything. He is a mainstay in the New York Times. His articles are lauded. They are garbage. They are hot garbage. He lacks the ability to understand that people do evil things. It's like that basic, simple truth in the Bible, right? Nope, it does not exist. It does not exist.
Yeah, he can't hold more than one thought in his head at a time. He's very what do they call that? Like myopic. That would be like nearsighted.
Yes, very myopic. And you'd think like, but like, if you sit a monkey at a computer long enough, he'll type up a sentence, right? Like, you'd think at least one of the thoughts that he can hold in his mind might actually be a good thought at some point. It's just one of them. Nope.
I would not think that because I've read several of his pieces and I know that that's not true.
I do feel like he was the kind of man that like talks to himself as he looks at himself in the mirror because he finds the sound of his voice soothing. If I were to venture a guess,
Maybe.
he just likes talking and saying things because his articles always say so many things. Gosh, you think one of them could pull on some sort of logical thread. Nonetheless, his article here in the New York Times is entitled "The $7 billion We Wasted Bombing a Country We Couldn't Find on a Map." This is coming from May 17th. And it is in the opinion section of the New York Times. He starts out talking about the signal scandal, which that was like for 5 seconds in the news and is gone. Everybody be careful here. I do a signal chat. We talked about this before. It's a very important note
Oh my word.
to make. But the thing he took away from it.
I was listening. Hold on. I was listening. I was listening to. I think it was JD Vance. It was either JD Vance or Hegseth at the Memorial Day, like whatever the White House did for Memorial Day. And he started talking about the Houthis and everything like that, and it's like, you guys know, and I'm like, he probably should have said, he should have just made a joke. He's like, you all saw the signal chats, you know that we're committed to this.
Yeah, you guys know because of the signal chats.
Missed opportunity to meme yourself there.
Yeah, we added you guys, didn't you guys hit the memo? Those are the signal chats he's referring to. And the thing in the signal chats that no one really talked about was the fact that we were having an incredibly successful campaign against, the Houthis in Yemen. Nicholas Kristof heard, how evil are we that we would bomb the Houthis in Yemen? That's what his takeaway from the signal chats scandal was. Basically, in case you didn't know this, Hamas uses the Houthi. Iran uses Hamas, uses the Houthi rebels. It's all tied together. It's a terror. It's what you would call a terror network. The Houthis are like the furthest down. They're like the redheaded stepchild's like dog, pet dog. Like, yeah, that sounds mean.
That sounded really mean.
Well,
they are terrorists, so.
I do feel a little bit, and then I realize that they're terrorists, and I feel
die like dogs. He died screaming for his mommy.
screaming for his mommy. The dog went and destroyed him. This is the best dog. Look at this dog. This is an American-made dog.
That was a crazy time. I need more of that. I need more of that soon.
Look, I just want to remind everybody, it is just now the ending of May. January 20th was when he was put in office, and I want you to process that because everything that's happened, all of the news that's happened in like 5 months, and we still have 3 more years, 3.5 more years, guys. Well, it is amazing. Anyway,
I mean, things could be very hampered during the midterms, depending.
Yeah, it'll all depend on how that goes. There's a lot of things that could happen though, like I just want everybody to know, like, we're going to be walking into a literal anniversary year in 2026. It's going to be a big deal, and it is going to generate a lot of momentum for the people that get to throw all of the anniversary parties. So anyway, I'll leave you with that thought. Nonetheless, in this article, where he's unpacking the reality. Basically, this entire article, and I mean, it's not like necessarily a short opinion article. He's got a lot to say. Basically, his point is that we spent $7 billion bombing terrorists in Yemen. And if we had just taken that $7 billion and fed everybody in Yemen, we never would have had any terrorist attacks. Like, that is literally this article. And I saved you so much time just now. So much time. What I mean by that is, because he is a progressive, this article implies that if the people in Yemen, right, if the Houthis simply had means of housing and food and shelter and better things, they would not be terrorists. because he has no idea. He can't think outside of himself long enough to realize that the reason they are terrorists is because they hate America and the Jews because they are radical Muslim extremists. Because he can't wrap his mind that the fact that if they had more would not mean they would stop being those things is literally the limiting factor of why Nicholas Kristof can't write things that are actually like helpful. Hmm. Hmm. Because we're not sending more humanitarian aid to Yemen, the Houthis have the need to strike out against Israel and Israeli boats and American vessels and to block trade. That's the reason. That's the reason why. If they had more aid, they would be something. That's the fill in. They would be good, maybe nice. It's like he's never. I mean, I know he's been in many different places, but it's like he's never actually understood that other cultures are different. Like, it's like he went to a culture and was like, "Huh, this isn't like my culture." Oh well, and that just went about his life. like, 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 like if we gave them more aid, that Yemen would become America. Like it would suddenly have some sort of American view, even bad American views. The answer is no. They will still throw homosexuals, transgender individuals off of roofs. They will still they will still mistreat women. They will still exercise their power in every way that is ungodly and against God's word. All holistically, like, and I don't know how he doesn't get it. I really like can't even figure out which part of this article to read to anyone, because I don't know which part makes sense in a way.
I mean, it's just it really is wild because it's like I think it's beyond that though. Like I think it's what am I about to try to say? I mean, like I appreciate I appreciate caring for the poor and needy. I appreciate that. You know, and that's something that Nicholas Kristof always focuses on. But
Always, yes.
but the question that he doesn't ever answer is the typical conservative question of is it the United States' responsibility to save every child in the world always and forever? Like is that the job of the United States government, or is that the job of, I don't know, the people of Yemen? like you know what I mean? Like people are moral people are moral agents. People have decision-making capabilities. Governments have purposes and roles, and Christians in every society have purposes and roles to obviously and very clearly carry those things out. But like he's talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, like I of course I don't want a child in Yemen to die, right? Of course. But my question is, like, there's got to be someone closer than the United States that should be doing those things when we're trying to like restructure and get a better grip on ourselves. Like God has ordered the world in a way, and that, I mean, the United States, I mean, this might come as a shock to some people, but the United States is never mentioned once in the Bible. I mean, you can look it up. You can look it up. Like the United States is not the savior of the world. So it's just like I don't know.
Well, it's more than that too, because the Christian perspective is not that if we just meet felt needs, a person develops. That's not the biblical perspective. Like we know why we don't send aid to Yemen, because as he admits in the article, the Houthis run an Iran-backed police state with a history of weaponizing aid. That's why the Houthis don't care. They are radically engaged and don't give two craps about human life. They take the aid and they feed their soldiers and they turn it into other money and exchange it for weapons to kill people. That's what they do. They don't care if some young, I mean, he does the emotional appeal with some 10-year-old girl's story in this article, and they don't care. They do not give two craps about that girl. That girl is fodder to them, and if she gets in the way of their mission, they will end her life sooner. That's what they think. And the question is not, do we help the poor? Care, you use the word care for the poor. Yes, we care for the poor. We don't care for the poor by any means necessary. We care for the poor so that the poor doesn't stay poor, but turns themselves into a person that is a productive and healthy member of a culture and a society. That's what the biblical perspective of helping the poor is. It's not enabling evil, it's promoting righteousness. And that's the difference when he uses a term like caring for the poor. He simply means throwing money at problems that doesn't do anything. Throwing money to provide water, throwing money to provide food, throwing money to provide clothes, as if that is actually what this aid goes to.
Right.
And it's a disgusting, it's the progressivism movement here denying that humanity is fundamentally evil and bent in on itself betrays the reality that the things he promotes in his articles are not possible, because he denies the very reality of the world in which he lives. Yes, care for the poor so that you can promote them into righteousness, not so that you can give them meals for a month, which doesn't actually help them at all because the next month comes. So it's a very important distinction on how we treat the quote unquote care of the poor. It is not kind to simply enable someone to live unrighteously. It is not caring for them. It is unloving. And the Houthi terrorists that he has admitted in this article do evil things and rip the aid from the poor. Don't care about the people in Yemen. They do not care about them.
I would love for someone just to ask Nick Kristof by what standard he feels like we should be doing these things.
Well, he did. He said so.
Well, right. Besides that.
Because he said so, Jesse. He's a progressive. You do what he says.
I'm a journalist.
I'm a journalist. That is exactly like I look at his face and I think that's how he sounds. Like I'm a journalist.
He sounds
How
like
dare you?
He sounds like Greta Thunberg.
How dare you? No, he can't because his name is Nicholas Kristof. He has to sound very different. He must say, "You must do what I say because I have said it."
You must
My
be
name
good.
is
You must be good.
Nicholas Kristof.
Good comrades for Kristof. Comrades for Kristof. 2028.
Congrats for Kristof. Everybody gets the grave. I mean, gets to work.
Everyone gets bread eventually.
Everyone gets bread, except unless you die. You die online, you don't get bread anymore. Oh my gosh, this is turned. Progressivism is just movement, and it is movement directly away from God. And if we continue to establish a foundation in objective truth, the reality is emotional arguments aren't vacuous. They are important. And an emotional argument and emotional appeals are important. We also need to have realistic, rational conversations about these things. Progressivism is a great evil that eats itself and consumes cultures. And if we don't identify where there is objective truth in these things, then we are failing at what Christ has called us to do. It is a net good for the government to step out of the areas that they have taken from the church, that the church has largely abdicated, and for the church to step back in. If you need funding, if you need food, if you people should be coming and becoming plugged into the church where they are known in community and where they can be aided in a way where they're not just given something so that a box is checked off on a form, but they are given something and then followed up. And then they're encouraged to move and motivated towards righteousness, to engage in changing. The government cannot do that. The government won't do that. We literally have people arguing that there shouldn't be work requirements for people on government aid. That what was the ridiculous nonsense? 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month is too large a barrier to jump through for people that are on social services. 20 hours a week is too large a barrier for people that are capable and able to work, to receive food stamps and other welfare benefits.
Right.
That's
we're not
insane.
talking about physically disabled people. We're talking about perfectly capable people.
We're talking about capable people, and the fact that we can't get that done in our government, that they're struggling and arguing about that is not good. That does not help someone become an actual productive human being. It traps them into being a slave of the government.
Yep. Which is what it was all designed to do.
Which is exactly what Lyndon Baines Johnson wanted when he fought the war on poverty. Nonetheless, that's the episode. My gosh, we probably should be done by now. Jeez, poor people. I'm so sorry.
We never should have said that it was going to be a shorter episode.
Well, we didn't say that out loud to them. We just said it to us.
No, but I know that we said it, and now everyone else does too, and now everyone else knows.
And our shame is now before you all. But we love you and know that you are gracious and kind, and we are thankful for your kindness. And with that, this is another episode of the Carpe Fide podcast. We hope you, dear Christian, this day would indeed
seize the faith.